This interview is brought to you by Burn It Up Coaching and the 21-Day Challenge. And if you are an entrepreneur or a high achiever and you feel like you've been spinning your wheels, you feel like you're at a plateau, you're stuck, you're not achieving your goals, you're unhappy, you're dissatisfied, and you're committed to breaking free and achieving your top priority in 21 days, setting a big goal, being intense as F about it for 21 days straight, then the 21-Day Challenge might be the perfect fit for you. What will happen over these 21 days is you'll get one-on-one accountability, daily check-ins, weekly deep dive calls to deprogramming and declutter the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stopped and unsupporting you from achieving your goal. So that's all in the 21-Day Challenge. It's very intense. It's not for everyone. So if it sounds like it would be for you, send me a message, send me an email. I can get you that intake form, and we'll see if it's a good fit for you. Again, not for everyone, but if it is for you, send me a message. Now, for the iTunes review of the week, it's from Bree Seeley. Bree Seeley says, "Thank you, Chris. Chris is a brilliant light in the world. His energy and enthusiasm is palpable. So grateful he started this podcast to share it with more people." Thank you so much, Bree. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a testimonial or a review on iTunes or otherwise, feel free to go search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes or visit beyourgps.com/iTunes to go to that page and to be able to leave us a review. Or you can search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on Facebook and leave us a review there. We always appreciate that. Thank you so much in advance. Now, for the woman of the hour, it is the one, the only, Gail Kraft. Gail provides you with a practice of living a conscious life and where you might make choices that align with your core values, are congruent with your heart, and ecological to the universe. It's time for you to embrace the gift that is you. If not now, when? Gail empowers her clients to take their business, their career, and their lives to a level of awareness aligned with their very core. By combining techniques, Gail provides the tools to achieving massive results, and she believes you have the ability to uncover your talent, to find ways to utilize your gifts, and to be comfortable with being a creator of your universe. The meaning in life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Pablo Picasso said that. And Gail Kraft is about to come on and rock the house. Gail, you ready to rock the house?
Always ready to rock the house with you, Chris. You know that.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. 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 I love it. So we are going to have a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on. You are amazing, an incredible human being. And we've been following each other's journeys for years. And I'm so grateful for, our connection and learning from you. And I'm just so grateful for who you are and what you stand for in the world. So thank you for coming on to share with our audience.
Well, meeting you when we first met, let's do a little bit history lesson here. Was it 2014?
Yeah.
Or so, okay. And you were this I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be great.
That's right. But I got lots of energy and I'm just going to let it all out.
Right. And we had our little moment, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember you specifically sitting across from you and looking at you and saying, "Chris, you will do whatever it is you want to achieve." And look at you. You're just rocking it. It's awesome. It's awesome. And so one of the tricks, that I encourage and I actually teach my clients how to tap into is that undeniable belief that you can do it, that you deserve the greatness that you're looking for. Absolutely, that you have the power and that you have the absolute right to this gift. Some of my story, I told you a little bit about my story, but one of my first successes, which is what I look back on often, I was too stupid to know I could fail. Right.
Yeah, too naive. I didn't know.
I didn't know. I got a call from a company, and which will remain nameless. It said, "Listen, we're having trouble. I know that you can turn this around. Will you come and do this thing for us?" And I'm like, "They're having trouble. There's only one way but up." Not true. I could have put them out of business, right? But I thought, hey, this is an excellent opportunity.
That's right.
Right. And they had complete faith in me. I had complete faith in me. And in 6 months, we were looking for ways to spend money in order to have a better tax outcome.
Wow.
From about ready to go under to, right?
And
it is at that point that I started realizing the power of thought, right? And the power of the energy that we are. So I started exploring very young, Chris. What is it? Who are we? What are we made of? How come some people succeed and some people don't? How come sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't, right? What's the difference, right? What's that magic ingredient? And, you know, and it's you. Everything comes down to you. So you mentioned you're an accountability coach. I probably beat you on that, right? Because from my perspective, everything in my life, whether it's good or bad, is my fault. Okay. So many of my clients, and I'm sure the clients that you get, are really good at beating themselves up. Right. So, hey, you know, oh my God, Gail, I said I was going to get this done last week. Didn't get it done. Right. I'm like, all right, I don't want to know about what didn't get done. Let's talk about the awesome that did get done. So if you're so willing to take blame for what didn't go well, why not be willing to take blame for what did go well, right? It works both ways. And when you start doing that, you start looking at things from a different perspective, right? And perspective is everything. It gets you out of your ego. It gets you looking at things of potentiality instead of looking at things of struggle and challenge and failure. I don't even like the word challenge. So even opportunity is starting to be a little odd for me because it really means challenge, right? Right. So don't play word games with me. So what are we doing? What are we talking about? We're talking about vibration. We're talking about energy. So a little science here, just briefly, a little bit of science. You went to grammar school, you went to middle school, you went to high school. Somewhere along the path, you heard about these things called atoms. Right? And they're little energy things. And you were told, you know, water is made of atoms, air is made of atoms, and solid things are made of atoms. But guess what, folks? That's us as well. And atoms are little electric nodules of their energy. So everything is just energy. When you embrace that, then you start realizing, well, if everything is energy, how do I change the vibration of my energy so that I'm congruent with what I want? And so part of that, and you are on my list, by the way, Chris, to do this, right, is find out what your original gift is. What is your gift? Everybody has a different gift, and I'll give you some examples. So if I have the gift of communication, right, that means that I'm probably a good orator, writer, marketing. If I want to bring abundance into my life, it's through communication. If I look at an opportunity and that opportunity is full of balance, but not much communication, I should not choose to go down that path. Whereas if my gift is bringing balance to the world, that is what I want to do. Okay. And so it helps make choices. So I use this, it's called soul realignment, this process of getting your original soul gift vibration, your original characteristics, right? In between those, we now make decisions. And in my coaching with my clients, I will say, okay, so your gift is communication and your characteristics are, I'll use me. So my gift is truth. And my characteristics is I'm a mission realmer, which means I don't stay any place for very long. I feel like caged in, right? And I embrace that now. I don't try to put down roots. There's no point because I'm going to just rip them up. And so I embrace that. And so when an opportunity is presented to me, if I cannot speak my truth, then I cannot take that opportunity. And I've been in situations where I was literally told, you can't say that. Needless to say, those opportunities didn't work out very well. Right? But I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why. And knowing this now, I probably would never have even walked into that situation. Right? Because I don't vibrate there anymore. People don't show up who don't want to hear what I have to say. And that's okay. That's okay. When they're ready to hear, they'll show up.
Yes.
So it helps make choices with my clients. Let me give you, another story just recently. So here's a gentleman, you know the saying, the definition of insanity is when you continue to do the same thing and you expect the same results. Folks out there, that's what you're doing.
Expect different results, right?
Let me go get a different job. I'm still going to work at the same thing, but I'll make more money and I'll be happier. Well, that didn't work, so I'm going to go get another one, right? Yeah. So this gentleman's working with me, looking for another job in the same field he's in right now. And like, let me do a soul realignment. No. Okay, well, help me with my resume. All right, I'll do that, right? Completely change it. And meanwhile, I'm like, have you looked at it from this way, right? Because I'm all about questions.
Yep.
And I would say, I got an email from him and he said, I give up. I am retiring from that career.
Wow.
And I'm like, yes. He did a soul realignment and it helped him explain how he felt about things. Even as a child, it put things in perspective that he was always wondering, why am I different? Right? And I got an email from him shortly after that saying, well, I feel like I'm 18 years old again and I believe in magic.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. And he's doing something completely different. Wow. He's just loving life right now. And does it still have challenges right now? Of course.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. So one of the things that we work on is when we talk about energy, right? We are multidimensional beings, like it or not, guys. What we call God, spirit, whatever, is actually us at a higher dimension or a higher vibration. And let's not say, up there in heaven, it's us, right? It's us, right? Right? And we can go into string theory and all that kind of stuff, but no, it's us, right? Which means we can tap into that if we know how to. Yeah. So think about the fifth dimension being that of intention. All possibilities are there in the fifth dimension. And we absolutely tap into intention. Right? Think of the fourth dimension as the ability to travel in time and space. That is when you think about planning the future, you want to think about dinner, right? There's no block to, I'm going to have pizza tonight. You know what? No, never mind. I think I'm going to go and have Chinese food. You know what? I'm going to bake at home. See how quickly that was? Time and space. I was in the future and I was moving around. Now, if we did that in the third dimension, it started the pizza and then, it would take us 3 weeks to get a dinner done, right? Because it's very hard and heavy moving through this dimension. Wow. But it's still about that same vibration. Right. So the trick is getting into alignment, right? Getting your soul, your mind, body, and soul into alignment. And how do you do that? You can meditate, and do the fifth dimension, and that's awesome. It's not going to change anything in the third dimension, guys, believe me. But, your fifth dimension would be cool, right? Right? Or you can, I'm a project manager by trade. So, yeah, we can sit down and we can do spreadsheets and we can plan and, all the, analysis paralysis. You'll never get there. You're an awesome planner. It's in the process of taking action. Is when transformation happens. Because you make different choices when you know what your gifts are. And when you make different choices, you change the way this body is vibrating It takes a little bit longer. And because this body vibrates at a different level, the other dimensions get right into alignment.
Wow.
Right away.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I know, I get shivers. It's so cool. It is so cool. Right. And so, I mean, that's just one modality, one tool, if you will, that I bring to my clients. But it's the one that we start with because it's the one that helps us guide, moving forward. Definitely NLP master training, bring that. When we have blocks and restrictions, because that will come up in my readings. And so here's the blocks and restrictions from your past lives that keep showing up in this life. So guys, if you ever in your life have had the experience, I feel deja vu, or did I live this life before? Am I repeating something? Am I like a mouse on a wheel? The answer is kind of yes. Okay. Now, not this specific life, but the blocks and restrictions and choices are the same.
Wow.
Because you didn't release them from before. You took them with you, right? And so when we can identify what those are, then NLP is what I would use to release them, right? So it's, changing your mindset, looking at things from a different perspective. And then we go into using language to change your life, which is what my book is about, how you use questions in order to achieve what it is that you're looking for. So another journey I went on, and I think, Chris, you probably went on some of this as well, is, the secret. There's many secrets the secret didn't tell you. That first of all, that is only one universal law.
Right.
Okay, there are others at play. And for me, so I will talk about me because I know me, anything else is just theory. So for me, when I was doing the affirmations according to the secret, nothing changed because my subconscious is going, yeah, right. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Have you looked at your bank account? Right? Have you looked at the job? Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't believe it, Gail. So you have to believe it. Remember, I asked you earlier, do you absolutely believe it? So I said, all right, declarations. You and I were in the declaration world.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And, okay, I'll switch to declarations. I am statements.
Yep.
Right? If I am, they say, if I say I am, then I am. That didn't work either because my subconscious still was checking out. Right? Right? But if I use a question and change a perspective, if I use a question instead, structured in a certain way, that has a presupposition that I'm already taking action, right? It's grounded in the present, in the now, not in the future, because tomorrow never comes, right? And it's positive and it's ecological. Then I activate part of my brain that will now start paying attention to the opportunities I'm not seeing, and I will take action because I noticed something's there. So there's not any miracle going on here, folks. You're opening your mind up, right? The miracle is you. We are the miracle. And so, for example, what more can I do? Presupposition, I'm already doing something. Right now, today, not tomorrow. To increase the balance in my checking account to that of, I don't know, $100,000 on a rolling basis per month. And so your subconscious mind looks at this question and says, what more can you do? Well, you're working, you're bringing in money. So, okay, so what more can you do? See what I'm saying? So you're not tricking, you're not lying to yourself. Right. And so you get yourself into this vibrational mode, if you will, that is becoming more aware of what you're not seeing right now. And then you can tune in and now you make choices to do it or not. And this is where blocks and restrictions come in. So even if you see it, I have one client, her world is about ready to turn. And she's like, oh, holy shit. Right? I said, well, didn't you want this? I mean, I'm ready to go on this ride with you. Right? I'm all excited about doing this with you. And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, you don't know what? You don't know if you deserve this?
Mm.
You don't know if you're good enough? Okay, let's go into the root of that. Let's get those blocks and restrictions, away. Many of us can't envision anything more than maybe the white picket fence in, some neighborhood somewhere, the Leave It to Beaver thing.
Oh,
right?
man.
Hey guys, I've had that, by the way. We used to call it the Leave It to Beaver cul-de-sac. Right? No big deal.
Right,
Left
right.
that too. Yeah, I feel constrained. I want to leave.
I love it. I want to ask you a question about the question. What more can I do right now to, let's say, increase the balance in my bank account to $100,000 per month? Like getting that income per month. How do we most effectively use that question? How do we ask it? How do we program our mind to think it more often? Do we journal? Do we put it on the mirror? Like, what are some different ways that we can really tap into the power of that question?
Yeah, I use it when I do this as a mantra.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm in the shower, I will be asking myself the question. I actually have it pop up on my email.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
right,
Yes. Yes.
right. So I remember, oh yeah, I did ask myself that question today, right? And I do it consciously. So that's another trick. Some of us get into, especially those of us who do guided meditation, get into the routine of it and no longer are partaking in it.
Right.
Remember, it takes action to make change. That means you need to be consciously and actively engaged in the question. Right? I would say 2-3 times a day.
Okay.
Get up in the morning, brush your teeth, ask yourself the question, and it has to be formulated. So in my book, I have 366, one for every day, questions. And for leap year, I added leap year. And what I want is, I have some people who do a question a day and then they think about it and see how that resonates with them. And I have some who've gone through and say, I like this question. I'm using those, right? So however it works for you, I've even thought maybe I'll do some like goddess cards with the questions sometime, right? I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I love teaching my clients how to formulate questions in a positive, moving towards something. So that's another thing. And I believe you've been in that moving toward versus moving away from conversation as well, right? And this is very, very interesting because through the other trainings I've had, I have a deeper and different understanding of what that roller coaster ride really is all about. But it's basically, if I want that $100,000 a year, I have to visualize what it looks like, where I'm going towards it, and not visualize what I'm getting away from. Right? Because again, what is your subconscious mind going to work on? That is your fourth dimension, right? Your fourth dimension is just going to make it happen. It's like, aye, aye, Captain. Okay, let's do this. And so if you're not controlling that, if you let it run willy-nilly, and all of us have been raised to let that thing do what it wants, right? And we can absolutely control that and the fifth dimension. I visit the fifth dimension often, by the way. I will be going there when I go to check you up. Right? And it's not this spacey thing. It is just another vibration, and you just feel a little bit differently and you see things a little bit differently. It's not any big mystical thing. We all can do it. We all have the capability of being greater than we are. We can get into religion. I mean, Jesus was trying to tell us, follow him. He didn't mean follow, the dogma of me. He meant model me. Right? Look what I do. Model that man. Right? Model how he made choices. Model how he thought. Right? And your life will turn around. It's simple, but not.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. I love it. So I think starting with these questions is such a great foundation to begin with. Obviously the soul realignment, that's going to be, knowing what our purpose is and our gift is. That's huge. And then we can start using these questions. And then as we're using the questions, the blocks come up. Right. And in the process of achieving and fulfilling our dreams, is there anything else that we need to know about that process or be prepared for, or that would be like a superpower or a thing that would help us get there quicker or more effectively, ecologically? It's so funny. I always talk about quickness and people are like, Chris, like, it's not about quick. It's about
the universal law of gestation will tell you that if it's quick, it will not last. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is what I mean, more than one universal law.
Mm-hmm.
One of the keys to achieving your goals, one of your keys to even just being happy, and it's, this works for corporate, mm-hmm. this works for relationships, and this works for personal development. Detachment. Get your ego out the door. And if I'm detached from someone that I'm in a relationship with, doesn't mean I don't love them. It means that my well-being is not dependent on them, and I have no expectations of them other than to show up. And if they show up and we have an amazing time, that's great. If they don't show up, I wasn't really attached to that outcome, so that's okay too. Right? So it takes away, oh my God, and I'm more aware of all of the stress, all of the drama, all of the heartache, all of the pain that everybody just wallows in every day. And it's because they're attached to their expectation of what perfection is. Right? I had a client come to me about a year ago. We've been together about a year. I'm ready to let the chicken out. And, he wanted nothing to do with women. He was done. And so we were working on some other things, and every once in a while would talk about that attachment. And, his last experience was not the best. And she said she loved me and she didn't show up. I said, okay, did you tell her what love looks like in your eyes? Did you tell her what you expected that to be? Well, no. I said, well, then of course she's failed. You played guess what's in the envelope. And when you play that game, you always fail. Yeah. Right? So again, communication is also part of what I do with my clients. How do you communicate truly what you expect? And then take a look at it and go, whoa, that's an awful lot. I have one woman starting next week, and we talked about, this is what I want you to do, right? So, perfect man. Oh God, we all want Superman, right? I want you to create this person, and all of the things of the guys that you've dated that you liked before, put them into this person. Okay, just you don't have to have a face or whatever. Then I want you to stand next to him and tell him what you bring that he should even show up. What do you bring? What space are you holding that he will show up and walk into?
That's right.
Right? Because if you can't vibrate at that level, he's not going to show up. Right? So stand next to him, feeling that vibration that you created, and then look at what it is that you have to offer. The third step is now take a look at the dark side of you. What is it that will show up that's not all light and lovely? And how should he handle that? Because if you are in a relationship with someone, not just dating, but in a relationship, they need to know the dark side of you and what they should do. Yeah. Right? The example I gave her was, I used to get migraines. And when I got a migraine, don't touch me, don't talk to me. Like this little vicious animal would come out. And so I told my husband, do me a favor, go away. I will go in the room, take my meds, get in a little ball, cry, and go to sleep. And I'll be fine when I wake up. Are you sure? Just go away. And he was like, okay, mom's having one of those days again. Right. Right. But he knew what to do and what to expect. Right. Versus, most people would have a tendency to want to put their arms around you and hug you. And that was like scratching nails on a chalkboard to me. Yeah. Don't do that at that state. So that's what I mean. What's the thing that's going to go make them go, whoa, what's that? Right. The little vicious animal that comes out every once in a while. Because you don't have one, do you, Chris?
Of course not. Oh my gosh, I love it. So I love especially, that space that you get to hold and get to create who that person is. That's like the default, who is the person? Okay, well, we all kind of have a clear idea on who we want, and the more clarity that we have on that, the better. And also, I love the other side of that coin is what's the space that you show up in? How do you show up so that they want to be with you? Who do you have to become or show up as so that they are attracted to you? What qualities, what characteristics, what behaviors, what environments, what ways of speaking, talking, being do you show up in so that they want to be a part of that relationship? They're like excited to be your boyfriend or girlfriend, or this can even apply with clients, like how do you want your clients to feel around you, This
can happen with a job. This can happen with anything that you want.
Yeah.
Right? But if you cannot clearly define what that looks like from a vibrational level, it does not have to be, a painting, three-dimensional that you've created. It can be just vibrational, like this ghost thing. Right. But then you need to figure out how you show up so that can actually even happen. Many people want, many women, I will say, do want Superman. And they do not have the Wonder Woman qualities to stand next to them. Right? And so then when we get real, and this was, get actually real, then we talk about values. What are your top 5 values? No. Those are not negotiable. No. Then the rest is negotiable. Right? So this little thing, it even worked for one of my clients who wanted a car. She's a photographer and she wanted a higher level of clientele. She got there and she's like, I can't show up in this car at those homes. Right. So I need a new car. So we went, what color is it? What's it feel like when you're driving? What does it smell like? We went through, she must have had 50 criteria.
Wow.
Then she called me a couple of days later. She goes, I think I'm going to have buyer's remorse. The first car I bought. Awareness, right? I said, well, let's go through the list. I had everything but the color. And she still has the car.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. That's awesome. Yep. So this is what I mean. When you get that specific and that clear, you get your mind looking in that direction and becoming aware. And her mind saw exactly what it was that she was vibing towards. So vibration isn't this major mystery. And I like to refer to it as like electricity. So I got a light on. It's plugged in. I don't know how that thing works, but I know how to make that light go on. I don't know how this works, but I know how to make the light go on, right? I can shine the light in the corner, right? You don't have to totally understand it to actually embrace it.
Yeah, and most of it is taking the actions in faith anyways, right? Just trusting that it's going to work out and trusting that the universal laws, we understand them enough, we trust ourselves to utilize them effectively, and if not in the beginning, then as time goes on to get better and better at their application. But I think there's a big part of faith in taking steps, one step at a time, that will eventually create the reality, will eventually create the desired outcome.
Right. So, Chris, when we talked, I told you about 2 years ago, I had made it a choice that was not congruent, by the way, because I fail sometimes too. Thinking that a situation was something it was not. But it ended up with me being homeless and no money. Wow. And I was literally at Costco's eating the $1.75 hot dog meal because that's all I could spend. That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would say, well, no, 2.5 years ago, because about 3 months after that was when I moved into a living situations. And 3 months after that was when I moved into these luxury apartments with swimming pool and workout area and whatever. Right. And now, just this week, I'm like, all right, so I'm done with apartment living now. What does living in a home look like for me? Right. So I'm starting. So I practice what I preach. Yeah. Anything I've asked my clients to do, I've done myself, to myself. Right. So I know what to expect. I know what the outcome should be. I know how to guide them through. One of the things with doing an NLP session with someone, especially if I do timeline work with them and we get deep, is for me to be very aware of where they're at, because they can go too deep, right? And so to be very aware that I keep them safe. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time with, you are safe, you are secure, you're with me, you're right. To be sure that the journey, I've never had an issue, but I've seen people have issues with going a little bit too far. And all that does is, technically they say it rewires your brain. If you think of your mind as like these little road grooves, right? It's like I keep going down the same groove, right? So just before that groove, so I look for the trigger, just before that groove, here's the trigger. Let's create a different groove, right? And so when the trigger goes, it goes, oh, nope, go this way instead. Right. That's simple. Right. Right. Again, I don't know how it works, but it works. Right. And then the original groove eventually heals. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love this. Gail, this is incredible. And we talked about my gift. Are we able to do that? Yes, absolutely. So today is Thursday, and today's Wednesday. Thursday, I'm tied up. Friday, I'm a little bit tied up. So this weekend is free. I have actually a list of people that I'll be working on this weekend. And so I'll be calling you and saying, when do you want to spend? I want to spend at least an hour. Okay. I record it. Awesome. So that you don't have to take notes and you can be engaged, right? I had one woman that I gave a reading to who gave me no feedback. Perfectly, right? And I'm thinking, did I miss the boat or something here? Well, no, I'm going to go with what I got, right? And a week later, she called me, and she said, and I won't tell you what the situation is, but she said, no one, not even my husband, knows this. How did you know? Wow. I said, well, you gave me permission and you told me. You told me, right? And she said, well, since I don't know what happened, but since that reading, and I'll give you an exercise, like an incantation to do for 21 days. She says, I have resolved that issue that she's had since she was 8. Wow. Pretty, yeah. That's deep. Yeah. Yeah, it's just awesome. It's just awesome. Just the ability to shine the light on something and give folks tools. And it just takes the one session, as long as you take action. And this is where, I do pick up coaching from this, because most people do need guiding through the action. Or those that I have that are really accountable to themselves. We'll go like 3 months. I do 3-month follow-ups, just to see how they're doing and do a recalibration to make sure everything is going as planned. Because I just love my clients. I want them to succeed. That's amazing. And they do. Amazing. Yeah. I love it, Gail. I'm curious, when people find out their gift, like what shifts do they see in their world? I know you mentioned a couple different things. What else can they expect when that happens?
You mean other than making different choices?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on to the degree that they're already unconsciously using their gift. Okay. So I've had some where communication has been their gift, and they're already in the right field. They're already right and doing well. But now knowing that, they are braver and more creative in moving forward, and they're kicking it. They're killing it.
Yeah.
Right. So they were already kind of successful. Now they're like, I'm going to be like a billionaire. I'm like, go ahead. Right.
Yes.
I've got one, let me try to, who just keeps ignoring her gift. Right. So her blocks and restrictions are about self-esteem. Right. And those are the hard ones to get through. Right. Because the first thing I said when we got on, you need to believe it.
Yeah.
Right. For it to happen. Right. And so if at some level she doesn't believe it, it won't happen. So I'm going to go back to her. So you will get time. Your blocks and restrictions will come from past lives. Okay. And so I'm going to go back to those past lives that keep showing up for her and do some regression work and timeline work to clear them up at the root, because she's not clearing them up in this life. So we need to get to the root.
Wow. And I think it's so amazing how people can be given the answers, be given the keys, but if they're not willing to use them or do the work or take the actions because they don't believe it, they're like, well, this isn't the key. Like, this isn't it. It's like, no, it is it. You just got to use it.
I know, it's the golden key. The door is right there. So the person that I trained under for the soul stuff, and still am training because there's just so much more that I want to learn about this, uses the door as an example. When you are sitting on the couch and you go, you know what, it's a little bit hot in here, I'm going to go open the door. You give no thought to what it takes to stand up, walk over, and open the door. Now you just went through the 3 dimensions I talked about. My intention is to open the door. I visualized and planned how I was going to open up the door. I stood up and physically changed off the couch and opened the door.
Yeah.
It's that simple. People get to the door and they go, oh, shit, this is going to be hard. No, it's not going to be hard. It's simply opening the door. Right. Every time I have succeeded, Chris, it's because I believe that I have the right to succeed.
Wow.
Yeah. And we all have the right to succeed. We're here, in my belief, so I don't want to talk rhetoric, this is my belief, to experience this heavy third dimension. We're here to experience something in this lifetime. We've chosen whether it's love or abundance, or we're here for a choice.
Right.
We chose to come here. The trick is that there's this universal law of polarity. Okay? So if I'm here to experience love, I can experience love by experiencing hate and anger and fear, because that's the polarity of love.
Yeah, the contrast.
Right. Right. And it's the universal law. You can't have one without the other, because you don't know what love is if you don't know what non-love is.
Yeah.
Right. So if you find yourself in the whatever that you want, right, recognize that, okay, so I'm on the right path. I'm just on the wrong pole. Right. I'm on the North Pole. I want to be on the South Pole. Right. Or maybe the equator. Right. So, okay, so how do I get to the other pole? I'm on the right path. Don't beat yourself up. We're so good at beating ourselves up, right? Don't wallow in it. And, there was a time in my life where I wallowed. Excuse me. I absolutely love the fact that I was in pain. Love the fact that I was miserable, right? Everybody feels sorry for me, right? Oh my God, I'm surprised I kept friends. I really, really am. And I don't know what woke me up, but, I think, I do know. It's like, wait a minute, there's a common denominator here. That common denominator is me.
Yep.
And I think that's when I stopped blaming. So there's another trick. I have a training that I actually have put together for corporate called, the blame game, right? Because in business, nobody takes responsibility.
Right.
It's my boss's fault. It's the system's fault. It's my coworker's fault. It's never your fault, right? And the moment business folks start taking their responsibility for their own piece of that action, things start to happen, right? Things start to actually move forward and progress. Egos start to go away a little bit. They don't disintegrate. I mean, it takes a lot of coaching really to get the ego to go, right? So, when I said detachment is very important, guys, you don't just say, hey, I'm detached. Right.
But it's like it's either that or what, right. It's either detachment and freedom and love and that long process, that vision of where we're going with that commitment, or what, suffering, being righteous and spinning your wheels and constantly going in the same circle and ending up at the same spot again in life. No, like nobody wants that. So it's like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to declare? What support are you willing to get and receive to make sure that doesn't keep happening?
And the shift is so small. People think it's a big, the shift is scary. Because the shift is how much more are you going to hang around the people that are spiritual bloodsuckers? Yeah. You need to step away. And that, you were not in one of the peak events that I was at, and I had this awakening during one of the exercises that we can't talk about. I had, so what's your block? Well, if I succeed, I will lose my friends.
Wow.
And the trainer at the time said, so you have a fear of success? I'm like, no. And then I went, crap, yes. Right? Oh, and then I started, okay, so Gail, put your coaching hat on. What would you tell a client who said that to you? And I would tell my client that you need to step away from those friends if they are not serving you.
Wow.
And I did. Wow. Yeah. And guess what? New friends showed up.
That's right.
Because I had space.
Oh my gosh, got to clear it up. Yeah. Got to clear out the clutter, the negativity, the toxicity that we think that we have to hold on to, or we have learned to quote unquote trust, right? Oh, I know this is like safe. My miserable, quiet desperation is like, I'm used to it, so I guess I'll keep going. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, I know this misery, right? So I'm just going to stay in it, right? I don't know non-misery. Yeah, I mean, we fall into that. It's just crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. I will also say that I walked away with ease and grace. There's, one relationship that is like closed and ended, but that was their choice, not mine. After repeated, we can still be friends. It's like, okay, I guess not. But for the most part, it was just a drifting away. Right. So one thing interesting, folks, take a look at your life. This was another aha to me. I've had so many. When people know that it's time for a change, rather than take responsibility and have that conversation about, hon, I loved you, I married you, but you want to know something? We are just not the same people anymore. And I want to stay friends with you, but I cannot stay married to you. And here's why. Instead, they fight, they argue, create chaos, and then they hate each other and leave in anger. And if you have kids, guess who suffers? Right? Them and the family suffers. And you, quite frankly, because that's a toxic approach. I will say that my divorce, we're still friends. When I go back east, we go dancing. Right? Awesome. right? And my son got married with one of our friends, said, "You are the best divorce couple I've ever seen," right? On the dance floor, dancing, having a grand. He was a friend before we were lovers. I wanted that friendship, right? I did not want to lose that friendship, right? And so we have a love and a respect from a different perspective with each other. Yeah, right? I even give him girlfriend advice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. You also made sure that you cleaned up that relationship or got complete on it, so you didn't take it with you into the next one. Because a lot of people do that. Is like they'll like hate each other, get to this point of breakdown, and they'll carry that negative energy with them, or fear, or whatever, pain, suffering, into the next relationship, and then they still haven't healed it, and it'll start showing up in that one too.
Right. Or they expect the next relationship to heal the wound that they have. Right? Yeah. Wow. And that's not fair. That's why I say, if you love me, what does that look like? What are your expectations? What is it? And that gentleman that I talked to you about, we had those conversations. I said, well, was that really fair to expect that of her and not even tell her? Right? And he's like, well, no. So he started taking responsibility for his piece of that breakdown. And he's now open to, they see each other now, which he was not, but they travel in the same circle. So they bump into each other, and he's cool with that. It's not a problem anymore. And he's open to maybe another relationship.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So I want to begin wrapping up with the empowering process and what that is, and why you are living that, why you're standing for that in this world.
Because enlightenment is not a destination. It is a process. We never in this incarnation, if you will, this existence, get to the end. Right? It's the onion. It's the stinky onion, right? So you peel. The other day I was doing a meditation, and an issue, and I posted about it too. My father came up, and I thought I resolved that at 21. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing here? What's this? Oh, this is a whole new problem. Oh, how long have I been carrying this? My whole life. Holy crap. Let's clean this up right now.
Yes.
Right? It was able to rise because I've been clearing stuff, and it's now my turn to come up, and now for you to clean something really, really, really deep. Right? So it's a process. And, using your language is important because you're speaking to yourself. You're programming yourself every time you say, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, why the hell did I do that? What's wrong with me? I need people to help me. Whoa, need? There's a lack, right? That's a whoa. Anyone says to you, I need, they are lacking big time, and you are not going to fill that need. Right? So, I'll call people out on their language, even my friends. That's why I have different friends. And as you really need me to do that. You need me to do that. And how will I fulfill you if I do that? Well, I don't need you to do that. It would be nice if you did. Oh, that's different. Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's picky, but your subconscious is aye, Captain.
Listening.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And I do not want my subconscious to think I'm lazy, stupid, dumb, or in any lack of any kind whatsoever. Right. I want my subconscious to know that I am whole and complete and perfect, as we all are anyway.
Yes. So beautiful. Gail, I love it. This has been incredible. How do people stay connected with you, and what do we want them to do next?
Well, they can stay connected with me on Facebook, Gail Kraft, on Facebook. Or if they want to hear more or want to get 7 days of my empowering questions free through the email, they can send an email to me at info@theempoweringprocess.com.
Beautiful.
Right. And I'll be happy to, answer questions, put you on my Facebook page. If you want my private page, that's very woo-woo, so maybe not. Not until I get to know you. I think you're on it. Not too many people are there. But definitely 15, 20-minute dialogue if you want. Be happy to talk about, how you can just shed the onion just so some more can come up. Okay. And Chris, to your, evolution, man, it's just crazy. Just crazy. Send me dates and times that are good for you. In fact, no, you have your calendar thing. I'll go to your calendar thing.
Cool.
Okay. And so when I'm done with you, you will see a calendar date come in.
Boom. Love it. Love it. Gail, I so appreciate you. Gail Kraft, the one and only. Thank you so much. And keep shining your light. Chris. Keep shining your light.
I absolutely will. Shining on you. Take care.
Yes. All right. See you, Gail.
Bye-bye.
Bye.